the Japan Trench just ruptured again. The same underwater fault, the same coastline. And this time, Japan's government is warning that a bigger quake may still be coming. Here's what struck on April 20th, and why scientists are not calling it over. On Monday afternoon, a magnitude 7.7 earthquake ripped open the seafloor off Iwate Prefecture. The Japan Meteorological Agency confirmed it within minutes. Tsunami sirens fired across northeastern Japan. Residents from Hokkaido to Chiba, 182 municipalities, were told, "Know your exit routes and be ready to run." USGS recorded the same event at magnitude 7.4. Even at the lower number, that is a violent, significant earthquake. But here is the number that changed everything. The JMA announced a formal Megaquake advisory. That means there is now a 1% chance of a magnitude 8.0 or greater earthquake striking the same zone within days. 1% is 10 times higher than normal. And this is the exact fault system that drove one of the deadliest natural disasters in recorded history. In 2011, this same trench produced a magnitude 9.1 earthquake. The tsunami that followed killed nearly 20,000 people along these same shores. NOAA's National Centers for Environmental Information confirmed those figures. This week, the ground moved in the same place. Here is the full story of what happened, and why the warning signs were building for months. On April 20th, 2026, at exactly 4:53 in the afternoon local time, the seafloor off Iwate Prefecture lurched. The rupture tore across a zone 70 kilometers wide and 65 kilometers long. That is roughly the size of Rhode Island, cracking and snapping in 12 seconds. USGS finite fault modeling calculated a maximum slip of 4.7 meters along that break. Nearly 16 feet of ocean bottom moving at once. Shaking was felt from Sapporo in the far north to Nagoya, hundreds of kilometers to the south. In Tokyo, buildings swayed. People felt their chairs move under them at desks 300 kilometers from the epicenter. Along the Iwate coast, the ground rolled for nearly a minute. The JMA immediately issued a tsunami warning for waves up to 3 meters, 10 feet. Measured water reached 80 centimeters before the warning was downgraded. But the tsunami advisory remained active, and within hours the Megaquake advisory landed. But here is the part the headlines are not fully explaining. This earthquake did not come from nowhere. USGS and JMA seismic data shows a foreshock sequence that began in November 2025. 5 months of warning. 162 earthquakes of magnitude 4.0 or greater hit this exact zone. 162. 5 of those foreshocks exceeded magnitude 6.0. The strongest foreshock measured 6.8, powerful enough to shake walls, crack roads, and send people diving under tables. And it was just a foreshock. By Monday morning, 4 aftershocks above magnitude 5.0 had already followed the main event. The strongest hit 5.6. The fault is still releasing energy. Scientific American cited independent earthquake scientist Amilcar Carrera-Ceballos, who noted that the 1% megaquake probability is, quote, significant from a risk management perspective, precisely because of what a magnitude 8.0 would mean compared to a 7.7. The energy difference between those two numbers is not 10%. It is roughly 4 times more energy unleashed into the ocean floor, and 4 times more energy means exponentially more water displacement. Watch what happens when you apply that to the 2011 record. Now here is why this matters to you. Even if you are watching from the other side of the Pacific, the Japan Trench is not an isolated system. It is part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, the same chain of subduction zones that runs from Japan, east across the Pacific, and down the west coast of the United States. The Cascadia subduction zone runs directly beneath Seattle, Portland, and Northern California. It operates on the same physics as the Japan Trench, a tectonic plate diving beneath another at the ocean floor. Pressure building for decades, then releasing. USGS has formally identified Cascadia as capable of producing a magnitude 9.0 earthquake. If a Cascadia megaquake hits, FEMA has estimated over 10,000 deaths and the destruction of critical infrastructure from Seattle-Tacoma International Airport south through Portland International to the Oregon Coast Highway systems. That event has not happened. But every time the Japan Trench moves, scientists on the U.S. West Coast watch carefully, because the last Cascadia rupture was in 1700. That fault is 326 years overdue. Additionally, trans-Pacific undersea fiber optic cables, the backbone of internet connectivity between the U.S., Japan, and Southeast Asia, run along the seafloor of the zone currently under advisory, A major seabed rupture can sever those cables, as happened in 2006 near Taiwan, cutting communications for millions. Right now, the JMA's active warning zone covers 182 municipalities. That coastline also hosts the Onagawa and Hamaoka nuclear facilities, both of which have been under elevated scrutiny since 2011. The advisory window runs through April 27th. Now here is where it gets strange. The 2011 Tohoku catastrophe, the earthquake and tsunami that killed nearly 20,000 people, followed an almost identical buildup pattern. 2 days before the magnitude 9.1 struck, a magnitude 7.2 aftershock hit the same zone. Scientists recorded it. They issued notices. They believed it was the main event. It was not. The 7.2 was a aftershock. 40 meters of water followed 2 days later. 40 meters. That is 13 stories of the ocean moving at 700 kilometers per hour. It overtopped seawalls designed to stop waves a third that height. Entire towns ceased to exist. Minami-Sanriku lost more than 9,500 residents to the water in minutes. The similarities between that 2011 buildup and what is happening right now are what the JMA is officially tracking. This is why the advisory exists. Earthquake geologist Wendy Bohan, speaking to Scientific American, put it plainly. It is important for people who may be at risk to understand that another large earthquake is possible, even if it is unlikely. One clear fact distinguishes today from 2011. In 2011, Japan had no formal Megaquake advisory system. That system did not exist until August 2024. It was built specifically because of what happened on March 11, 2011. Japan rebuilt its entire early warning infrastructure around one lesson. The big one often announces itself with a slightly smaller one first. Here is the official timeline for the next 72 hours and what to watch. The JMA's Megaquake advisory is active through April 27th at 5 p.m. local Japan time. The official stated probability, 1% chance of a magnitude 8.0 or greater. USGS continues real-time monitoring of the Japan Trench fault system. 3 things to watch. First, aftershock escalation. 4 aftershocks above magnitude 5.0 already occurred within hours of Monday's main event. If that sequence shows aftershocks climbing towards 6.5 or higher, the risk picture changes significantly. USGS will update public feeds in real time. Second, DART buoy readings. NOAA operates a network of deep ocean assessment and reporting of tsunamis buoys across the Pacific. These sensors detect seafloor pressure changes before any visible wave forms at the surface. A secondary large rupture would register on these buoys first. NOAA's Pacific Tsunami Warning Center is watching them now. Third, stress transfer modeling. JMA seismologists are running daily calculations on how Monday's rupture shifted stress loads onto adjacent sections of the Japan Trench. Those updates will be published by the JMA each morning. Now, the worst-case scenario, which the JMA has formally named. If a magnitude 8.0 or greater earthquake strikes the Japan Trench before April 27th, following similar fault geometry to Monday's event, tsunami heights along the Tohoku and Hokkaido coasts could far exceed the 80 centimeters recorded this week. Evacuation orders for all 182 municipalities under advisory would be activated immediately. The JMA has not said this will happen. They are saying the door is not yet closed. The best case, and still the most likely outcome, is that April 20th's magnitude 7.7 was the main event. The accumulated stress along that rupture zone has been partially released. Most major earthquake sequences end with the first large quake as the main shock. Most. But in December 2025, a magnitude 7.6 struck 140 kilometers north of Monday's epicenter. Japan issued a Megaquake advisory then too. That one passed without escalation. This is the second advisory on the same fault system in 4 months. 3 things to remember from this video. 1. A magnitude 7.7 earthquake struck the Japan Trench on April 20, 2026, the same subduction zone that produced the 2011 Tohoku Megaquake and tsunami. 2. Japan's government has issued an official Megaquake advisory covering 182 municipalities, citing a 1% chance of a magnitude 8.0 or greater through April 27th, 10 times the normal baseline. 3. 162 foreshocks preceded this event over 5 months, including 5 earthquakes of magnitude 6.0 or stronger. That pattern is what scientists are watching most closely. If you want to stay ahead of what's happening to Earth right now, subscribe. I post every time something major hits. Coming next. The December 2025 Aomori earthquake triggered the very first megaquake advisory of that winter. Japan got lucky. That video is on screen right now, and it reveals why this week's advisory may be the more serious of the two. Stay safe.